Family Farmstead here. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm super stoked to be here with you guys. And I'm dropping things, and I am going to talk today to you about hardening off seedlings and planting outdoors. So again, I'm Christy. I'm owner of this group, Stone Family Farmstead community group, and I am owner and author over at the blog stonefamilyfarmstead.com. So if you want to find me, you can find me over there and find all the different places that you can find me right there on my blog. So hey Tracy, so this is our second live here in the Stone Family Farmstead community group, and last week we talked about introduction to herbs and safe practices when using those herbs. So if you missed that video and you want to find it, you can find it right here in the group, or if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can find it over there as well. If you want to find or watch on YouTube, you can go to stonefamilyfarmstead.com/YouTube, and that should take you right to my page. And if you are watching the replay on YouTube and you would like to join in on the live and ask questions and, you know, just be there in real time, you can do that at stonefamilyfarmstead.com/community. So I also want to share one more thing with you guys, that if you are haven't started your seedlings yet for the year and you need some help with that, I want to share with you my new ebook that I released last week, and it's a super easy guide to seed starting, and it can help you. It'll take you, hey Heidi, it'll take you from finding your planting zone from the very beginning if you're a brand new gardener. It'll take you from there all the way to planting into your outdoor garden, whether that be a raised bed or containers or whatever. It'll help you do that. So if you want someone to walk you through, I can do that with my book, and you can find it over at stonefamilyfarmstead.com/easy seed starting. And also I want to share with you that if you want some freebies that'll help you grow your best garden, I have a ton of them over on my blog, and you can head over there at stonefamilyfarmstead.com/subscribe, and subscribe, and you'll get instant access to my free resource library. So all the businesses aside now, and so let's get started with hardening off seedlings. So what is hardening off seedlings? So basically all that really means, it's kind of a funny word, it sounds weird, but basically all you're doing when you're hardening off your seedlings that you started indoors, and you don't have to do it if you're starting seeds outside in a garden, of course, but this is only for when you do indoor seed starting. So basically what you're doing is you are taking your little plants that you cared for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks or whatever. Oh, it is nice and warm here. It's really, really great here. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to be 88 degrees today. Gosh, can you believe it? I've been waiting for hot weather for a long time. So basically, what you're doing is you're taking those delicate little seedlings that you cared for so long, and you're going to gradually acclimate them to the outdoors. And so especially if it's hot when you're getting ready to plant outdoors, you're going to want to really do that carefully, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So that's the reason why we harden off our seedlings. And so, you know, we just basically want to ensure that our plants make the transition from indoors to outdoors comfortably. 60 I like also. If I'm working outside, I need it to be 60, not 88. So when are the seedlings ready? So basically, you're going to know that your seedlings are ready if they have true leaves on them. So, hey Sharon. So true leaves are basically the leaves that when you look at them, you can tell that this is a tomato plant, okay? Or hey Bonnie, or whatever plant it is. The true leaves are, the first set of leaves are actually called the seed leaves or cotyledons, and so they look a lot different than what the true leaves look like, and you really can't always tell what the plant is just by those first leaves. Those first leaves are important because they are what feeds the seedling for the first week or two. So you don't have to do any fertilizing or anything like that. And that's also the reason why we can plant in sterile fertilizers that don't, I mean not fertilizer, but sterile peat pellets or seed starting mix, and it doesn't need to have any food in it. So basically, you don't want to harden off any seedlings that are that don't have a few sets of true leaves on it. So this one here has a few sets of true leaves. I like to wait until my seedlings, well, depending upon the plant, I like to wait until my tomato plants are maybe about 5 or 6 inches tall or whatever. You can do it earlier, but you don't have to. I don't like to, and the reason why is because I really want my plants to be nice and kind of have a thick stem, and to be able to survive well enough in the hot sun at my place. It's really hot here, and I have to actually wait until like dusk to plant anything, or early morning. And so, you know, you'll know in your microclimate what it's like, and you'll be able to make those decisions later. But for now, you know, just consider maybe growing them a little bit longer in the grow light box or under the grow lights, and let them get nice and strong and kind of stocky. So anyway, most plants can live under the grow lights until they're about 6 to 8 weeks and are bigger and more substantial. So thank you, Heidi. I think she's pretty too. So yeah, you don't want to do it too soon, but you can. Where should you put them to harden them off? So this is actually going to be relative to wherever you live. Actually, does anyone have any questions before I go on? I am going to go on, but I'll go ahead and catch questions as I see them. But I don't want to be talking so fast and just, making it like you guys can't answer any or ask any questions. So where should we put them to harden them off? I like to put them in a place where they're only going to be exposed to the gentle morning sun. So that is usually in the front of my house, or under here where I'm at right now on a table that is right here next to me. And it only shows the morning sun. So right now we're getting the morning sun right here. I don't want my seedlings to be in the volatile heat because it's just too hot for them. So I also like to pick a spot that has, that's pretty open, so that a breeze can come through and give my seedlings stems some exercise as they kind of wave in the wind and everything. Sharon is asking, do you leave them out all night? I do, but I'll tell you when I do that. You don't do that too quickly in the hardening off process, but that's what you're working toward. So with that question in mind, let's get on with what the process is. So I'm going to tell you guys right now that if you guys need to take notes on this, I'm going to go ahead and go through and give you step by step. So grab a pen and a paper, and you guys can take notes. Or I will put an actual cheat sheet inside of my resource library that you can grab probably by tomorrow. And you can go ahead and print that out for your garden notebook or whatever, wherever you put that information that you keep. So each day you're going to set your seedlings outdoors, but you're going to do it gradually, like I said before. So your first day, you're going to put them out in the shade for an hour, and then you're going to bring them back under the grow lights. Day 2 is going to be 2 hours outdoors with 30 minutes of them getting that morning sun, or whatever volatile or non-volatile sun that you can get them. Even if it's the afternoon and you guys have like a milder climate than I do, you can do it that way. But if you have volatile afternoon sun, choose the morning sun, put them outside for an hour and a half in the shade, and then 30 minutes in the sun, to total 2 hours on day 2. Day 3 is going to be 3 hours outdoors and that's 1 hour in the sun, 2 in the shade. Day 4 will be 4 hours outdoors, 2 in the sun, 2 in the shade. Day 5 will be 5 hours outdoors with 3 to 4 in the sun and 1 to 2 in the shade. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to determine that in a minute. But let me get through the days. And day 6 is going to be 6 hours outdoors and 5 to 6 in the shade. I'm so sorry. 6 hours outdoors, 5 to 6 in the sun, 1 to 2 in the shade, if needed. Day 7. I'm sorry, I'm confusing you guys. 6 hours outdoors, day 6, 5 to 6 in the sun, and an hour in the shade if they need it. Okay, day 7 is 7 hours outdoors in the sun, and then Sharon, this is when you are going to leave them outside overnight. And then day 8 is just going to be all day in the sun, all day overnight, and then you're good to go to plant them in the garden. So, but here's what I wanted to talk about. On those longer days, like when they're going to be out, you know, for 3 to 4 hours or 5 to 6 hours in the sun, do your seedlings a favor and come out to make sure that they're not drooping, or that their soil is not dried out, or something like that. So if you see them droopy, go ahead and stick your finger about an inch down to see if there's enough moisture. Hey, Candy. And if it's somewhat moist, then you can probably leave them if they're almost done being in the sun. But if it's kind of a little bit on the drier side, even if it's still a little damp, go ahead and give them some water so that they can survive the rest of the time outside, especially if it's on more of the beginning part of their time outside in the sun. Also, keep an eye on them, because if you have them nice and well watered and they're drooping anyway, go ahead and go a little bit slower and maybe move them into the shade for the rest of their time outside, and then go ahead and try it again the next day. You know, it's okay to go a little bit slower. Sharon says, I've been doing this all wrong. No wonder my plants are not so happy. You know what? I hear you, Sharon. I mean, this has taken me a while to actually nail down what really works. And then we moved in between. So, you know, microclimate changes. And so there's that. But it is actually a really simple process. You just have to pay attention for, you know, at least the first 7 days. Heidi says, I killed my first bunch of seedlings the first time I tried hardening them off. This was many years ago. I cried. I'm still afraid of this process. I know. It's hard to know, you know. I mean, after we nurse these little guys, you know, for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, you know, it's really hard to lose them in this process, you know, because our hearts are already tied to them, aren't they? Yeah, try them, Sharon. And if you are able to grab the cheat sheet if you didn't take any notes, don't forget to grab that tomorrow. So, okay, yeah, we talked about while you're hardening the seedlings. So yeah, make sure you come outside and you check on them. Don't just assume it's going to be okay, because some plants are going to be a little bit more delicate than others, especially like delicate herbs. Heidi, I know you do a lot of herbs, and so, you know, it's just, you will be able to get to know which plants you need to watch a little bit closer. I know they are. They're like our little babies. I don't even like to snip the extra ones off, you know. So I try to plant my seeds. I try to plant my seeds like kind of in a triangle, you know, if I'm doing 3, to plant them in a triangle so I can break them apart. I don't want to kill my babies. So anyway, so once your plants have been hardened off, it looks like we have some time left. So I'll go ahead and talk about how to plant outdoors. Yeah, herbs, they're easy to kill. They're hard to germinate, and then they're easy to kill too. So they just need a lot more care than just regular vegetables for sure. So yeah, once your plants have been hardened off, you're going to want to put them into the garden, and you're going to want to try to do it in such a way that you avoid transplant shock. And so I'm sure there are a lot of ways to do it, but I'll just give you what I do, and it seems to really help a lot. For one thing, like I was saying before, we get really volatile afternoon sun, so I don't really like to plant in the afternoon. I've done it before and I've been successful, but I think it's just kind of hard on the plants, and depending upon which ones they are, you know, they can dry out within an afternoon if we're not careful. So what I like to do is to plant them at dusk so that they have that time where it's not like hot volatile sun. Hey Amy, where there's not a lot of volatile sun to be like bearing down on them, so that they can kind of, you know, take a little bit of time to adjust and all that. And some plants are going to, you know, just naturally experience some transplant shock, and that's always a bummer to see. It's very normal to see after you plant your plants that they droop a little bit, but I'm going to share with you a way that I do it that actually really cuts that a lot. So basically what I do, and I'm not going to show it to you right here on camera because it's actually would be really hard for me to adjust everything, but I do have a video over on my YouTube page, stonefamilyfarmstead.com/YouTube will take you to that page, and the video is called Planting Seedlings in the Garden, where I demonstrate planting a tomato plant, this whole thing that I'm going to tell you right now. So you can watch that later if you want to. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to dig your hole, and you're going to make it about twice the size of okay, so let me just see if I can. When you take this out of your plant out of your cup, you're going to want the hole that you dig to be about twice the size of not just the root ball, but all the dirt, because you don't want to disturb the dirt around the roots that much unless you are breaking them apart so that you can plant them separately. But that usually happens, for me, that usually happens during the first planting up or the first transplanting into a higher pot or a bigger pot. By this time, all my plants are there's only one inside of each cup or inside of each container. So you're going to want to dig that hole about twice the size of the dirt, you know, the soil and everything around it, and about twice the depth. So for this, it would probably be something like 5 or 6 inches wide to maybe about, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches deep in your garden. So, hey Sheila, so what you're going to add to that hole is, well, first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add some water to that hole. So have your I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on this word, but your waterer full of water. Just clean water is fine, and you're going to wet the inside of that hole. And then what you do is you're going to add a tablespoon of fertilizer, and you can use something like the Transplant Fertilizer. I like this. Oh, thank you, Heidi. You can use a Transplant Fertilizer like this, or you can use an all-purpose. I've used both. There's a ton of different kinds of all-purpose fertilizers that you can use, and you can stick a tablespoon of that inside of the hole. And then if you're doing calcium-loving plants, you can add a tablespoon of Epsom salt and a tablespoon of eggshells. And if you're doing eggshells, you're going to want to make sure that, here, I'll show you mine. Can you guys see this? I can't see it, so all the questions or all the comments are in the way. So these are my eggshells. You see how they have, they're really small. And so I ground those up into my, in my food processor so that they're really small and so they'll break down quickly. And then after that, you're going to add a handful of worm castings. And so, excuse me, the worm castings are going to give a more immediate food, and your all-purpose or your transplant fertilizer, those are going to give more of a long-term food. Okay, and then I'll show you what you're going to give them actually immediately, which is going to really help them as well. So once you have all the amendments inside of the hole, go ahead and mix them around with your hand, and then remove your plant from the container, and don't mess around with the roots or anything, especially if it's squash or zucchini or something. Try not to disturb the roots too much. You want to leave them intact like that. The reason that's going to help a lot with avoiding transplant shock. And so go ahead and set your plant into the hole, and gently fill your hole around, and go ahead and just tamp it down so that the roots are able to be sort of enveloped with all the dirt. And then this is my special thing I really like to do. I like to water with worm tea, and I use Vermistera because it's super easy, and all I have to do is just add a couple of capfuls of Vermistera worm tea into my watering can and just go ahead and water. And I like to kind of do a little like dig out a little circle around the plant so that all the water doesn't run off everywhere, all the fertilizer, but that it just actually sits right there around the plant, and it can sink down into the and get to the roots right away, and that'll provide a nice shot of nutrients to them right then and there. So the steps really quick again. So here are the steps once again with the transplanting. You're going to dig your hole, you're going to water that hole, you're going to add your amendments, mix them around, remove the plant from the container, fill in the dirt around the plant and tamp it down. Maybe make a little well so that when you water it with your worm tea, you can make sure that all the water is going to stay right around those roots. So basically that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions? While I'm waiting for questions, I want to share with you one more time that our own Heidi has just finished her Confident Herbalist course. Well, she's actually, what are you now, 98% finished, Heidi? The Confident Herbalist course, I'm about halfway through it, and I'm super enjoying it. It's really a wonderful course if you are interested in herbs. And I know this is our gardening week, but I wanted to make sure that you guys are able to grab the deal that she has going on right now, which is 20% off. That makes the course $117.60, I think it is, which is a super great deal, because I've been shopping around for herbal courses, and comparable ones honestly are costing, a good $200, $300. It's, yay, 99% done, Heidi. Awesome. So yeah, herbal courses can be really expensive, and if you are shopping around for one, you're not going to find one at $117. I guess that's pretty much all I have if there's no other questions. If I don't catch any more questions, like while we're here on camera, go ahead and just post them anyway, because I'll go head onto the computer in a minute and answer some more questions if there are any. And so thank you so much for being here today. I am super stoked to be doing this. It's so fun, especially because I'm outside today, and sunshine. If you know me at all, you know I love the sunshine. No, you guys are great, Sharon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super stoked to be doing this, like I keep saying. And I hope you guys come back next week, because we are going to be talking about herbs again, which is actually fast becoming one of my favorite topics. And I know it's Heidi's favorite topic. And so I'm going to be talking about the 4 most common ways to use herbs as medicine. And so if you have any questions about that, or even any questions about herbs at all, go ahead and post them. You can post them right here in this thread, or you can post it in the group. That's fine. And I'll make sure to be able to answer those next time. Okay? Thanks again for being here, and have a great day, you guys. Bye.